Okay, we are live now. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tea Time with JK and Co. So today we'll be discussing on a topic related to police search. So today we have another three speakers, exclude myself to share with all of you about this topic. So our first speaker today is Mr. Satya, and our second speaker today is Mr. Jason,
Hello.
and our third speaker today is Wong En.
Hi.
And I'm the fourth speaker to talk about this police search. So normally when we talk about police search, it is basically the police rights to actually search a person's property, means they go into your house and search your premise, or in a person's vehicle, means they can go inside your car and check your car. And also the body search means the person himself, means to search whether the person himself got any evidence or any weapons or not. They can even confiscate, means they take away all your properties or the relevant evidence from you. Especially during this period, we have a lot of roadblocks. And during this kind of roadblocks, can the police block and can the police search you and your vehicle? And so today we are going to talk about this matter. So basically for search, we have three kind of search. The first kind is body search, which is to search the body, only the body, to check whether you have any, like check your IC or check your phone or these kind of things. And the second type is vehicle search, means they can check your car boot or check inside your car whether you have keep anything inside your car or not. And we also have premise search, means whether the police can go into your property, your house, to actually search all the things in your house to see whether you have actually hide anything or not. So today, now I will pass the time to Mr. Jason to explain to us what about the vehicle search, especially during the roadblocks and also when the police stop you on the road.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, thanks for joining us. For whoever is tuning in to listen to us on this police power on search. The first area that we're going to address is about vehicle search. The reason that we raise this up is because I think it is very rampant nowadays. Goes without saying that the roadblock is everywhere. It is within a few kilometers, and you can notice that there's the police have set up the roadblocks, right? Now the question is whether the search can be conducted on the vehicle when you pass through a roadblock, or whether there is a roadblock or not. Randomly, you is allowed to be called up or stopped by the police at anywhere to do a search or conduct a search on your vehicle that belongs to you. Now that you might have some issues about human rights, or whether it is a violation of human rights or not, your personal belongings has been searched. So now we are here to talk about whether the search is legal or illegal. All right. Then a big heading here is, can the police search my car during roadblock? Now, when we talk about this, let's discuss about roadblock. Okay, so generally the police can set up a roadblock before the COVID-19 or before the pandemic. Police generally will have two reasons to set up a roadblock. Number one is to detect traffic offender. Course number two is to prevent a crime, crime prevention or detection. So therefore, they set up a roadblock and they will then monitor all the vehicle that pass by the roadblock. They will try to spot a road tax issue, invalid license, or to the extent of somebody who have committed a crime like intoxication, because there was a time people drunk and drive, right? So these are the reason. But with the recent pandemic in place and the roadblock has set up, there is a different dimension in place to also detect the what we call that is whether you have the right reason to move around in conjunctions of the DMCO, right? The movement control has been in place, and nobody is allowed to move around to battle the submerge the lowering down the numbers of COVID-19 case. So now, now if you look at the interpretation of the Police Act, 26 sections 26 sub 2 is actually say that a person who fail to comply with roadblock will subject to the punishment, right? But then sections 26 sub 1, it basically given the power for the police to elect the roadblock barrier, right? Uh, and generally, and the answer is yes, the police are allowed to search, right? To search the vehicle. Now, Section 24, sub 1, sub B of the Police Act is also spell out the power. The police can actually stop and search without warrant of any vehicle that he has a reasonable ground suspecting that the vehicle is used to commit a crime. Yeah, so the straightforward answer is yes, right? Okay, so we look at the next slide. Okay, what information that the police can ask me from? Perhaps I think the general things that to identification as in who you are, where you're from. Now, you are to cooperate with the police in providing your full names, your IC, the ID cards number and address. Now, these are the information that you are, of course, obliged to give, right? When the police is asking, then you have to provide this information. Now, now how about people will be asking, how about other information that are out of this identification? Now, you have the rights to remain silent. In that sense, you have the right. But then don't forget, the police also have a right to ask further. Like I say, the police would have this power to suspect there's a crime has been committed and it is a reasonable ground to believe that that vehicle resemble a crime vehicle, so that the police, of course, are able to ask further. But in return of your action of not telling other than what you have given to them on the IC, you might be under arrest, right? So that arrest we have covered up during the last talks on arrest. But of course, when I just very briefly talk about arrest on, as far as if you are under arrest or not, you have basically three things that you'll be able to identify. Number one, you can ask the police, am I under arrest? And if they say yes, yes means you are under arrest. Number two, if you have been handcuffed, obviously you are under arrest. Number three, you will also have a right to know on what ground that you're under arrest. Then the police, by conduct itself, or refrain from you to move around. Like if you're under arrest and it doesn't say that you're under arrest, or it doesn't handcuff you, but you are not allowed to move away from the police, that also by way of conduct is also amount to an arrest, right? So if you believe that the police have infringed their rights, in that sense, you can launch a complaint. Of course, these are publicly available on the website. It's SISPAA, PDRM. These are the portal that you can actually seek a recourse if you found there is some improper manner the police conduct. All right. Then if you look at the next slide, now these are the national registration or regulation pertaining to the police power. Of course, during the roadblock, it might have some issues. If you identify that as a police officer, you can check their authority cards. I think the last occasion or even the last week, Natalie have actually shared with all how to identify the police color and what are their position, who is the retire of a police officer, and so on. Then, of course, these are the next slide here is talk about police rights to search your phone. Okay, so in other words, I can understand that a handphone, it is a personal belonging. So question is whether you can actually search my belonging and confiscate my phone. Now the answer is here, is stated here. Basically, there is a circular saying that a police have the power, to do a search, to conduct a search on your handphone to the extent of it confiscate. If the police discovered there are some incriminate items or incriminate obscene pictures or incriminates evidence that, or probably to the extent of support the police to for another case, that the police have the power to investigate and to retain the police with the police custody on your handphone. So the answer is yes. Again, the police have the rights to search. Of course, the police will also have to be equipped with a reasonable ground to conduct such a search. So not a randomly search. Whilst the police will normally don't do a random search unless there is a reasonable ground to believe that the items, it is an incriminate item. Hence, the police are allowed to do so. So it is a very comprehensive sharing as far as search on the vehicle, and I know that everyone probably once in a while probably will face a roadblock, probably will be asked to do a search. Then these are all the law in place that are allowed to do so. But observant will have to see how the police going to conduct their search, and if things are crossing the line, and you know what to do, as I mentioned previous slide before. So now that is so much of talks on the vehicle search. That I'll pass it on to the next speaker. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Jason, for actually explaining to us about the vehicle search and what can we do during the roadblock. So now I will go into the second part, which is about premise search. So basically, whether the police can enter into your house to search your property, to search your house or not. Means whether they can enter into your house or not. So basically, there are two types of premise search. The first type is the premise search with warrant. With warrant means basically the police who wants to enter into your premise has to produce a document saying that they have the warrant and it is authorized to enter into your premise to search your premise. So normally in this kind of situation, there are few kind of situation where the police are allowed to enter into the house, but in the provided that they have the warrant. The first type is they believe that a person who the police wants to look for is in the property. For example, they know that this person they want to find this person. For example, this person he killed someone. So the police want to search for this person. And they believe that the person is inside this property right now. So they can go and apply a warrant and say, okay, I want to enter into this property because I believe that this person this killer, this murderer is inside this property. So they have to show you the warrant to enter into this property if they believe that. And the second kind of situation is when the court believes that a person will not produce the property or the document required. For example, the property is stolen or the document that is important for the case itself, and you actually have that document and also the property, but then the court believes that if I just ask you to give me this property and document, you will not give me. So they might actually give and also authorize the police to enter into your premise to actually take all this property and also this document. But all this kind of property and document must be relevant to what they are looking for. If those property which are irrelevant and nothing to do with the case itself, they cannot simply take away all your things. And the seizure part, which is taking all this kind of thing, will be later explained by Wong En. So the third situation will be the person is wrongfully confined. Normally we call it as kidnap. So if we believe that a person is inside the property, but the person is kidnapped, the victim is kidnapped, and he is confined inside the property, and the police believe that the person is inside, then they have to apply for this warrant to actually enter into this premise to save this person out. And the last situation is they believe that they want to look for the evidence of an offense is inside this property. For example, this evidence today, maybe it's a document. It's very important for this case and it can be an evidence for this case. Then they can actually apply for a warrant to enter into your premise and find for this evidence. So if all this kind of situation when the police knock your door and tell you, oh, I believe that there is a person inside your house we are looking for, but then they do not have the warrant, you can actually choose not to allow them to enter in this kind of situation. And another type is without warrant. Without warrant basically means the police do not need any document to enter into your premise. They can straight away enter into your premise, but it is limited to only two situations. The first situation is based on Section 62 of the Criminal Procedure Code. It is about when the police receive the information that there is an item that has been stolen and this item is in your house and they believe that it's in your house, and if they go and they go and apply for a warrant, this property will be likely to be removed or be destroyed or be taken away. So in this kind of situation, the police can straight away enter into your house and say that, okay, we believe that there is an item that has been stolen, is in your premise, so that they can enter into your house and actually take away this property. And the second situation is the police, they believe that the suspect actually hide or concealed some evidence, such as the documents that is related to security offense, such as the offenses in the SOSMA Act. The offenses in the SOSMA Act are such as terrorism or related to public order kind of offense, or any organized crime. Organized crime is such as human trafficking, drug trafficking, cyber crime, all this kind of crime. And they believe that because of the delay, all this evidence will be destroyed. Then the police can straight away enter into your house to actually search your premise. But in this kind of situation, only the police officer not below the rank of the inspector, means they must have a blue color authority card to enter into your premise. If all the police who wants to enter into your premise, they do not have this blue color card and their rank is all lower than inspector, then they have no right to enter into your house unless they have the warrant. So these are some of the things that all of us have to remember to check and also verify from the police whether they have the authority to do so or not before you allow them to enter. But if they have the authority to enter, you must always remember to cooperate, because they have the right to actually detain you or to stop you from actually stopping them to enter if you fail to cooperate with them. Okay, so this is basically about search. And the next speaker today will actually talk about whether they can take away all this property or not. So I'll pass the time to Wong En.
Yes, so now I will talk about seizure, like take away the things. After searching, the officer will want to seize the things related to the crime. So can a police officer seize a citizen's property? Section 435 of the CPC gives the police officer a general power to seize any property suspected to be stolen or used to commit an offense. However, only police officer with the rank of inspector or higher can make a seizure without a warrant. So if the police is below the rank of inspector, make sure he have a warrant before you let him to seize the things. However, if it is a seizure of passport, it's not covered under Section 435 and it would be illegal to seize. In Ghani against Jones, the police suspected Ghani and his family to be involved in a murder and seized their passport to prevent them from absconding. The court held that the seizure of passports were illegal and had to be returned to them. The police should have arrested and interrogated them instead. So although you can see that this is a common law case, Section 5 of the CPC provided that when Malaysian law are insufficient or inadequate to cover the circumstances, reference to English common law can be made. So we can, based on this case, that seizure of passport will be illegal. So when object is seized, no matter it is with or without warrant, according to Section 64 of the CPC, the police or any officer conducting the search must make a list of all things seized in the course of search and sign it himself. This list is often called as search list. So what is the significance of a search list? Case law shows that without a search list is fatal or may cast doubt as to the bona fide of the search. In other terms, the court may think that the search has not done in good faith. If there is dispute regarding the list of seized things but no such list is tendered, it would attract adverse inference against the prosecution under the Evidence Act. So next, Section 65 of the CPC further provided that the occupant must be present at the search and be given a copy of the search list when requested. This is to prevent the occupant to later claim that the police planted the evidence themselves. Similarly, the fourth schedule of the CPC also stated, for all types of search after arrest, a search list shall be given by the officer and the person arrested must sign the list. A copy of the list will be given to Kim. Next, I will talk about the procedure on seizure of property by the police, which is given under Section 413 of the CPC. After seizing the property, the police officer or other officer which doing the search and seize must immediately report the seizure to a magistrate, who shall then make an order as it thinks fit. This order can be an order for delivery or keep the property in safe custody. This can be seen in the case of Monoharan Anak Lelaki Dorasami against Ketua Polis Pejabat Seremban. The respondent bought a car but it was detained by the police, saying that the vehicle was a stolen property. The federal court overruled the Court of Appeal's decision, which said that detaining the car for more than 48 hours is illegal. Instead, the federal court held that the car suspended, have been stolen, cannot be returned to the current owner without an inquiry being conducted under Section 413 of the CPC. The magistrate has a right to ascertain the identity of the owner before returning it to the rightful owner. So this is all of my sharing for seizure. So we have looked at the search of premise and vehicle and how seizure should be done. Now Mr. Satya will talk about body search.
Thank you, Wong Lin. Hi everyone. I hope everyone stays safe in the house. Okay, I'll be covering the last topic, which is a body search. There's a two type of body search, which usually the first search type of body search that I'll covering is search without arrest. Example, search without arrest means where they do not require any search warrant or anything. They can just raid or ambush a particular place for their investigation. For example, karaoke, outlet, clubs, the police conducting a raid, they can search your body or bag. But everyone have the right that you must need to know that it must be done with the presence of police officer who is inspector or higher rank. The authority card must be blue. So when they're conducting a raid or search on your body or bag, as a person that's going to be searched, you have the right to ask a police officer to show their authority card, so that you will know that the person, what is their rank, and make sure they are inspector and above before they do a search on your body or bag. Section 619 sub 2 of the CPC. Many people will be wondering what is the CPC. CPC is Criminal Procedure Code. That is governing act in Malaysia for criminal procedure. Section 19 sub 2. Those are female, take this note that it's important. If you are female, only female police officer can body search you. So this is very sensitive. It's a bit sensitive, but you have to have the right to make sure that if you're female, that female police officer who is the one who do a body search. Things to take note. No law requires you to be stripped naked. So please make sure you don't do that. If anything, then you all can lodge a police report as per my learned friend Jason Kong informed earlier. Or you can make a police report to any nearby police police station if any such incident take place. Body search must be carried out with decency. Cannot touch private parts. That you all need to aware of this as well. It could be male and female, both of you. Volunteer. When the police are cooperating with you all, the person that going to involve for body search, you are required to be cooperate with the police officer and volunteer to take out your belongings instead of allowing the police to put his hand into the bag or pocket. Because why we are saying that you need to cooperate and volunteer to take out and to show all these things, because during that incident anything could happen. So you all just, for example, things can be planted, evidence can be planted who are not in favor to you all. So you all just make sure on that. Okay, the next, okay, this is the most crucial part where search after arrested. Section 3, Part 2, fourth schedule of the Criminal Procedure Code, which is known as CPC. You must aware that officer shall introduce himself in a professional way. So this police officer need to introduce what's the reason for what his position, his name, and all. And he's doing a search for what, investigating for what, the reason. The search shall not be extensive than necessary. Example, as I said earlier, like example, strip naked or checking your private parts for male or female, or could be more than that. Officer shall be the same sex with the person arrested, determined by the IC. If you're female, you'll need to be searched by a body search be done in a police station by a police officer. I mean a female police officer. If a male police officer will be doing that. For strip, intimate and intrusive search, second officer of the same sex as the arrested person shall be present. So if a female involved in such case, the required search required, then second police officer or female will be appeared. If male, and male police officer will be appearing. And police officer cannot disclose any flaws of the body of the person arrested. And they also need to respect the religious and cultural sensitivities. But usually, you all just need to be careful. But you all need to make sure, as we covered last week, the moment you all been arrested, you have a right to call one call. Could be your immediate family members or your lawyers to inform that you have been arrested, so that you will be informed. Okay. The types of body search. There's a 4 types of body search. So you all need to take this into account. One is pat down search. Second is strip search. Third is intimate search and intrusive search. For strip search, only with the authorization of officer, rank inspector and above allowed to do this. And it must be a same gender. Intimate search of officer rank, which we known as ASP, Assistant Superintendent and above, will be done with the same gender as well. For intrusive search, conducted by government medical officer of medical or medical officers with authorization of officer in charge of the police district. So you all just need to take care that there's 4 types of search, body search. Okay, I'll go to the first type of body search. The first one is pat down search. It's where just this is could be a normal. This is just a normal search where on body, searching outer clothing, no authorization is required. Before search, police officer should ask the person arrested to declare is there anything on his body which is harmful. Officer cannot pass the hands over the person's genital area. Okay, so this is a very common search that happens in Malaysia. So it can be in a roadblock, so could be anywhere. Search, this is just a normal. Then I'll go to the next search, which is strip search, which require your clothing, some other, could be some outer clothing or could be entire clothing to be taken out, and which will be conducted by the same gender police officers. Only can be made if the person is arrested and reasonable suspect the person is concealing evidence or weapon with him. Must get approval from officer not below the rank of inspector. Search must be done in private room and cannot record the search. Second officer shall present together. Not require the person to remove all his clothes at the same time, divided into upper torso and lower torso. So this strip search depends whether they require to search your upper body or lower body. So this upper body, they'll require do in upper body. But you all must take into account that this search need to be done in a very private room. Next search will be intimate search. So intimate search will be like a physical examination other than mouth, nose, and ears. Only can be made if the person is arrested and reasonable suspect a person is concealing evidence or weapon with him. Need approval from police officer not below the rank of assistant superintendent, which is ASP. Cannot perform such as escort if the physical condition does not allow. So in this intimate search also, they require only above ASP above can be, you require approval from above the ASP to do a search. And the last search, which I'll be sharing with you all, is intrusive search. Intrusive search will be like a thorough search. It could be a mixture of all these three, like pat down, or this tree search which I discussed earlier, which is examined to determine whether there are any evidence or object inside the body. Of body officer in charge of a police district, accompanying officer, same sex, shall witness the search and take any objects pursuant to the search. This usually be like an example of where I think very a normal example that I can share with you all, where these people that try to send other people from one country to other country to smuggle the drugs through the body. So this one, it could be one of it. So that's all my presentation today, and thank you very much for everyone for joining us and sharing with us. Back to you, Natalie. Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you Mr. Jason, Mr. Satya and Wong Eun for sharing the laws and also some of the experience with us about this police search. So through today's talk, basically we would just like to alert everyone on your rights if you encounter any kind of these kind of problems, like the police stop you, what you should do, and if the police want to enter into your house or your vehicle and take away your things, what you should do. So just to alert everyone that please remember that not everyone has the authority to do anything on you. You as the individuals yourself always have the right to verify whether the person has the authority to do all this kind of search on you or not. So we just like to alert everyone to know about your own rights. So once again, thank you all our speakers today for sharing, and also not to forget all the audience who joined us today. So for next week, we'll be talking about how to start a civil action. So basically like you have a dispute with other people, or you would like to sue someone else for some damages, you want to claim money from them, what can you do? And what do you need to prepare? So next week we'll be talking about this how to start a civil action topic. So if you are interested in this topic, remember to stay tuned and also join our Facebook Live. Remember to stay tuned on our Facebook on 3 p.m. next Sunday. So thank you everyone for joining us today. Stay at home, stay safe, and take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.